Dear colleagues, dear ladies and gentlemen, warm greetings from Münster, the city of the Westphalian peace. I regret that my schedule did not allow me to join you in person at this important meeting at the COP27 today. However, I feel honored to be able to address you with this video message. Climate change is one of the core global challenges of our century, and cities are the forefront when it comes to coping with these challenges. Unleashing the full potential of the transformative power of cities is pivotal for developing solutions. Cities need to be at the table when discussing global developments as partners in a real multi-level governance system. One successful step forward to include cities in a meaningful way was made during this G7 presidency. As Japan takes over the G7 presidency in a few weeks, I'm delighted that JDCMA will take over the Urban 7 presidency. And as we pass the baton, I would like to outline 5 lessons learned during this year's presidency of the Association of German Cities that I believe laid the groundwork for our success. First, we brought together a group of organizations and networks with a common vision. Instead of trying to start a new network in an already crowded field, we built off of the remarkable work of many organizations. This strength became particularly evident in the drafting of our U7 Mayor Declaration. Each organization brought its own expertise and perspective to the table. This enabled us to develop a declaration that addressed our expectations for the G7. Secondly, we engaged mayors from the Global South. This discussion made by the G7 have a significant impact on cities around the world. That is why we included them in the drafting of our declaration and invited them to join our conversations, including our U7 Mayor Summit. The third element was the willingness of so many in the German federal governments to treat cities as partners. At the start, the German G7 presidency set clear expectations about the transformative power of cities and their important role in the G7 process in their program. Then, the U7 received funding from the Federal Ministry for Economic Cooperation and Development for our efforts. Finally, ministries were open to direct dialogue both offline and in public. At our summit, the state secretaries from the Ministries for Economic Cooperation and Development and Housing, Urban Development and Building reflected directly on mayors' interventions and on our declaration. This commitment to partnership could also be seen in many of the communiques and statements that came out of G7 ministers' meeting. By the way, only a few weeks ago, the meeting of G7 ministers, foreign ministers, took place in the city of Münster. It is important to note that the G7 presidency recognized that cities should be partners in a broad range of policy decisions, not just urban development. In this year's final communiqué, the G7 head of state tasked relevant ministers to develop a joint understanding of good urban development policy and to decide on joint initiatives for unlocking the full potential of cities to promote social, cultural, technological, climate neutral, economic and democratic innovation for the common good. Fourthly, we were involved from the beginning. The German Federal Ministry of Housing, Urban Development and Building did invite us to join the G7 ministerial meeting, and they included the U7 in the process of planning the meeting and drafting the communiqué. Finally, cities were included at eye level in the ministerial meeting. At the meeting of the ministers for housing, the Urban 7 had a seat at the table. We had the opportunity to discuss ways in which multi-level governance could unleash the potential of cities directly with the ministers. Dear colleagues, as a president of the German City Association, I now would like to pass the baton to the president of the GDCMA, Mayur Hisamoto, and to the Japanese cities. I believe that the perspective of cities in the dialogue on global developments needs to be strengthened even more in the future. And I'm convinced the momentum from the German presidency will lead to great success in Japan in 2023. I would like to offer you my support and through you the engagement of the Association of German Cities and its member in the Urban Seven. I'm looking forward to continuing to work closely with you and Japanese designated cities Mayors Association. Thank you very much and best greetings.